culture can seriously affect whether you discover and develop your aptitudes. What's accepted in one culture may be beyond the pale in another. There's an invisible force that determines what you are allowed to become. Not your talent, not your passion, not your aptitude, your culture. Biology affects the aptitudes you were born with. But culture can seriously affect whether you discover and develop them. All cultures smile or frown upon different particular activities and lifestyles. What is accepted in one may be beyond the pale in another. The culture you live in may inhibit and possibly prohibit you from certain paths according to your age, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, and what exactly it is that you want to do. Cultural constraints can range from raised eyebrows over dinner to solitary confinement without parole. In Matthew Lee's case, they were non-custodial, but socially deterring nonetheless. This is the story of a man who discovered his greatest talent and then hid it for years because his culture told him it was not respectable, and how he finally stopped hiding. I was 8. I saw a magician on a cruise liner. He had this cloth and made it turn into a cane in less than a second. It left a deep impression. Matthew Lee is 8 years old, on a cruise liner with his family, and he sees a magician perform. The magician had this cloth, and he made it turn into a cane. In less than a second, Matthew was transfixed. It left a deep impression on me, but the impression only went so far. I did not think about it much after that. I went through school. I studied. I became a computer engineer. Matthew followed the expected path. School, university, computer engineering degree. Job lined up. The magic stayed buried for years. Then, the day after he graduated college, Matthew was walking in a mall, and he saw a magic shop. He remembered that incident from when he was a kid, and he thought, let's see what happens. On a whim, he bought some magic paraphernalia, just to entertain himself. He had never considered magic as a profession, because in Singapore, where he lived, no one took magicians seriously or gave them any real respect at all. I practiced for hours trying to get something right. It can be very zen. Suddenly you look out the window and it's morning. I just wanted to get this thing right. Matthew took his new toys home and began to practice, just to entertain himself. And something happened that had never happened before. I found when I practiced that I began to lose all sense of time. I would practice in front of a mirror for hours, trying to get something right, making sure it looked correct from that one angle. I just did it over and over again. This was different from anything he had experienced in school or in his computer engineering career. It can be very zen. Suddenly you look out the window and it is morning. I did not feel tired. I just wanted to get this thing right. This is flow state, the condition where time disappears, where effort feels like play. That is how I got into it. I guess you like it because you realize you're good at it. You like it because you are good at something. I was never good at that level at anything before that. Matthew Lee had discovered something. He was multi-talented. He had done well in school. He had a good job doing web design. His clients were happy. But he knew inside that he was not allowing his greatest talent to emerge. He was keeping his most accomplished skill between himself and his mirror. I volunteered for a charity event. My first time performing. The nervousness went away. Other magicians thought I'd been doing this for years. It had only been 6 months. As Matthew's fascination with magic grew, he started to think about what it might be like to perform in public. There was an online forum, the Singapore Magic Circle Forum. People always said the same thing. If you want to explore how this is going to work, you have to volunteer for charity events and see how things go. So Matthew volunteered. Children's Cancer Foundation. His first time performing in front of an audience. I got there and I did my thing. For some reason, the nervousness I felt before I went on just went away. There were other magicians there, experienced performers. After Matthew's set, they asked him how long he had been in magic. They were thinking I had been around for 2 or 3 years, but it had only been 6 months. 6 months, and he was already performing at a level that looked like years of experience. Matthew had more talent than he knew, and enough passion for magic that he began to wonder if it could be more than a hobby. That is when circumstance came into play. He had a web design client who happened to produce magic shows all over Singapore. Matthew soon had someone booking his act. Within a short span, I went from entertaining my own reflection to dazzling crowds. The professional transition was seamless. The personal transition was less so. Within a relatively short span, Matthew went from entertaining his own reflection to dazzling crowds. Soon he was making enough money as a magician to become a freelance web designer, which allowed him to do more magic gigs and spend more time mastering his craft. The professional transition was seamless, especially because he was making more money and in less time as a freelancer than he had been as a salaried employee. The personal transition was less so. My wife had a fit when she first learned I was going to do magic productions because she thought it would be unstable. She eventually came around when she realized how happy I am. His wife was not the only one who had doubts. Matthew was still dealing with the stigma attached to his profession in Singapore. The fact that I am a magician is not usually the first thing I bring up when I meet someone, or for that matter, with those I have known for a very long time. His parents, for example, only recently learned that he does this professionally, years into his career as a performing magician, and his parents just found out. I often stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning working on illusions. I didn't feel as if I put in any work. That was play to me. For now, Matthew is more concerned with refining his talents than with toppling cultural conventions, and he spends a great deal of time refining his talents. He often stays up until 2 or 3 in the morning working on his illusions, learning from the best role models he can find. This is the pattern of someone in their element, not forcing themselves to practice, losing track of time while practicing. I would not say I'm extremely good at it. That is Penn and Teller. I am at a level where I am good enough to perform for money. Humility mixed with competence. I got there and I did not feel as if I put in any work until I thought about all the practicing I had done. But that was play to me. That was play to me. This is how you know you have found your element. The work that builds mastery does not feel like work. It feels like play. He always had it in him to be a magician. But if not for circumstance and determination to swim against the cultural tide, this aptitude might never have surfaced. Matthew Lee's version of play allows him to build upon a natural aptitude, an aptitude he might have never discovered if he had not seen that cruise ship performer when he was 8, if he had not taken a momentary detour from his planned career path to stop by a little shop in a mall, if he had not been willing to practice in secret for months before telling anyone, if he had not found the courage to perform publicly despite the cultural stigma. He always had it in him to be a magician. However, if not for circumstance and his determination to swim against the cultural tide, this aptitude and the burning passion that accompanies it might never have surfaced. Think about how many Matthew Lees exist in the world right now. People with extraordinary talents, buried beneath cultural expectations, never discovered, never expressed, because their culture told them it was not respectable, not stable, not acceptable. Culture may frown. They may raise eyebrows, but your greatest talent might be in the thing your culture tells you not to pursue. Swim against the tide. Your culture will tell you what is acceptable, what is respectable, what is stable, and sometimes your culture is wrong. Your greatest talent might be in the thing your culture tells you not to pursue. Matthew Lee was supposed to be a computer engineer. Stable, respectable, acceptable, but his greatest talent was magic. Something Singapore culture looked down on, something that carried stigma. He could have listened to the culture, kept magic as a secret hobby, never performed publicly, never told his parents. He could have stayed safe and stayed small, but he swam against the cultural tide, and his life transformed. If you have a talent your culture frowns upon, you have a choice. Conform, stay hidden, stay small, or swim against the tide. Let your talent emerge. Accept the raised eyebrows, because the cost of hiding your greatest talent is higher than the cost of cultural disapproval. Matthew Lee knows this now. Do you?